Hello and welcome everyone into this week's weekend stock market update. This is Big Bull here. Let's get right into it. Today we're going to look into some of the main ETFs into the market heading into the next week, how they're looking, and I will also look at some of the watch list that I made for the next week. What levels I'm watching, and what would be my targets if my price break those levels. So let's start with a SPY ETF first. As you guys know, last week I made a prediction that new lows are coming. Today was just a trailer. Wait for a bounce and then the fun begins. And then guys, that's exactly what happened. If you can see on this 4-hour chart, many were trying to buy the dip of this 4-hour demand, but that was a clearly weak demand. I explained why in the last weekend video, and then price went sideways for a day, and then look what happened. And we got a massive sell-off on a really high volume. And then I still think this sell-off is not completely done yet. I think we can see one more lows early next week, followed by a bounce, and then again a wave 5 sell-off is coming after that too. So I think the bulls are in major trouble. I will post this detailed chart on my Twitter, so follow my Twitter at the Bulls Corner to get up-to-date market information. And then the second one we have is Qs. Qs, is definitely looking more weak than the SPY. It is, 4-hour, just consolidating in this bear flag, I would say, and then it didn't even hit this demand yet, and SPY is already broke this prior lows, so I do expect Qs to break this lows pretty soon too, and then this is the next demand that we have. I think this is where we can see, some of the bounce on Qs, followed by another sell-off to the downside. The reason that I'm pretty bearish on Qs is looking at the Nasdaq on the weekly time frame. Is if we look at it, let's remove all this drawings. Broke this October weekly uptrend. That's a big thing. And you guys know what happened when price broke this downtrend here, and then we went on a massive rally. And then another thing is price is in this a massive volume gap from the October lows. I marked on my chart a massive volume node rejection on the Nasdaq, and then price is definitely in this huge volume gap, and then price can quickly escalate through this zone to this back into this 13,500 support. This is where I would like to go long, for some bounce, and then we will see where the price goes after that. So things are not looking good, definitely not looking good for the bulls for the next coming weeks. Into the, I would say, end of October or November, we can, if I hit my target, then we can see the bounce, the center rally, followed by another sell-off. XLF, one of the most bearish charts out there on the daily time frame, and I think the sell-off is just started on this one. I told you guys I predicted this move, before the bank crash, and then I think the exact same move is gonna go happen again, but this one is going to be even bigger, which will break these prior lows, or gonna go even lower than these lows here. So definitely watching. I think the move is just started, and then this is something definitely feels like a wave 3 type of move, where we get this 1, 2, 3 move down, and then bounce, and then another move down to test this demand here, or even potentially new lows. There's no reason to be bearish on the banks when we have this massive bear flag breakdown on the daily chart, and then followed by a back-to-back 3 bearish engulfing candles too. So the levels that I'm watching is this prior lows, the prior swing lows, which is 33.57. Once this level breaks, the breakdown traders are going to enter, and then we'll see definitely new lows on the XLF too. And ARK, there's nothing to say about ARK, guys. This thing is so done. All of the ARK names are looking weak, and then looking at the weekly chart on the ARK, on the Cathy Wood's name, it would say price definitely changed the structure on the weekly time frame. You see price was making this higher highs and higher lows, rejected this weekly supply, and now price closed below the prior weekly lows after this bounce, confirming that bears are in full control of this name. So any bounces I would expect to continue gonna get sold until we see this prior lows, which is 34.88, and the price also formed this weekly supply zone on ARK, where I would expect, even if we got a pump into the supply, I think that would be a really good massive short opportunity coming with a very tight stops for all the short traders out there. Looking at the daily time frame, bearish engulfing on high volume breakdown and this open bear gap, and then also weekly bearish engulfing. Definitely not a good look. This is not where this is not the place where where you want to be go long. And then I would talk about where I would go long and why I would go long. The confirmation that I'd be looking for. But let's look at some of the more ETFs here. Regional banks, so done, guys, so done too. This is the reason I was telling you guys last week. There's a reason that I'm not uh, bullish into the market going into the next week. In combination with the seasonality, is that all the major ETFs, they were bearish and they were making these bearish patterns, and then most of them, changed the structure in the 4 hours. So there was no reason for me to turn bullish unless that changes. And then KRE, look what happened. This last Friday in the update, I was like, there's a bear flag forming, massive bear flag breakdown followed by a small bear flag, and then that bear flag, broke down. And then I think there's definitely more downside coming, and my target is definitely around 25, 26 in the long run. We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves are happening, and then after that we can see big bounce. That gonna probably happen by next year, right? But for that we need more data. But for day-to-day time frame, I will continue to give you guys update on every single move. So the one name that I'm highly recommending for all you to watch is semiconductors. They are not looking good. I would say even bearish than tech. If semis goes down, the AI hype is all connected to the semis names, and then the chart is not looking good. It's in front of you. I posted this on my Twitter. Before this breakdown gonna happen, massive head and shoulder on the daily chart, and then we finally got a breakdown on high volume followed by low volume retest. Which only mean one thing, that there are more bears in this name. Once it's rejected this level, and if I turn on my volume profile, you see the exact same thing that we saw on the Nasdaq weekly chart. The semiconductors, we have this massive gap to fill, and then I think price can go to this 130 zone pretty fast. This is where we can see a bounce, probably followed by another sell off, right? So definitely things are not looking good. And then if we want to combine it with the SWIX, which is a short wicks futures. And then, this is also that I pointed out last week that we are forming a massive rising wedge, at basically all-time highs. And then, I had a weekly sell signal and, daily sell signal. So basically every single time frame was showing to me that there were high chances that we would see a dump into the short wicks futures, which equal to a wicks pump on the names. And look what happened to the wicks, a massive pump into the wicks, and we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down followed by a huge pump. So I do expect any drawdowns in wicks, to get bought up again, and breaking these lows here. So SWIX definitely looking very bearish too, which means we're gonna see a lower equity prices going forward if this wicks started to go down again more. This is the only demand I see, so I think SWIX gonna test this demand too. Uh, the last one is Dow Jones. This is the one I'll be particularly watching. If we start to getting a bounce of this level here, it's at a massive volume node. But if you see, a price broke down this October uptrend on some high volume, and then we also got some follow through for 3 straight days. So the more time the price is gonna spend, below 345, I think bears are in control. We can form a small bear flag and then dump back again. Uh, so now let's talk about when will I turn bullish. Looking at the SPY chart, here is, let's look at hourly time frame and then remove all this. The only I would say I would turn bullish is once price breaks these highs, which is at 444, and then there is no reason for me to turn bullish. Every single bounce I'm gonna get sold because I need to see this change in structure of price, at least, starting from an hourly time frame, not, smaller 15 minute, because that's a huge sell off. I'm not just going to buy the dip, for pushback to all time highs, or even, this prior highs, which is 460, unless I see a change in structure of 1 hour time frame. And, this is not happening. You see, prices continue to make this lower highs and lower lows here. So unless price is breaking these prior highs and then starts making higher highs and higher lows, then I will buy the dip and then, start moving forward. But for now, as I mentioned earlier, things are looking very, very bearish. Now let's move on to some of the names that I'm watching into the next week. There are 14 or 16 of them. I'm gonna discuss, all of them with you. You can, pick and choose, what do you like, and then play accordingly. The number one is Snap. Snap, sideways action, this past couple days, and then, price looks like it's gonna break down pretty soon. This prior support break and retest happened. So I'm watching this 860 level. Once this level breaks down, I expect price to go to this, fill this small gap here around 815 is my next target if we do break this 860 level. So that's a Snap. Oxy, Oxy Petroleum, I'm short energy names in general. I'm short into the, I short Oxy, and then I short another name energy for 2 weeks out. And the reason is XLE, because that's what we expected. Because look at the volume gap here, this the massive volume gap, and that's the only volume node I see. I think this is where price can see a bounce, and also a daily demand level is there too. The reason I shorted energy names going to next week is price did change structure on the daily chart. Look, price is making this higher highs, higher lows, and then price made this new lows and then followed by a new highs. And that means, the structure is changed. Bears are in control unless, we start breaking this 93.55 again. So I don't think price, we're gonna dump around almost, 3 to 5% dump early next week. I'm expecting in XLE. So that's why I shorted Oxy into the next week. Marvel Semiconductors, guys. So semiconductors, I see, there are many names out there, to play, but I think Marvel is the best short candidate out there because of this massive gap that it had, almost, a 5 to 7 point gap on this one, and then this, does not look, extended, compared to other names out there like AMD, Qualcomm, and all these names, right? So I will continue to watch Marvel here. If we break this prior week lows around 51.92 level breaks, then my next target would be 49.35. This is where I would, take my TP1, and this is my take profit level to around 46. So let's see, how it goes the next week. And looking at the volume profile, it's the same thing. All the semis names, all the tech names are in a massive volume gap. So, I'm gonna go ahead, take the opportunity to short this, if this starts breaking the Friday lows. Coke, Coke is, again, guys, I'm telling you, I'm not gonna, look for a long setups, if the long setups are not there. So I'm only gonna look, for a short setups, unless the structure changes on minimum 1 hour time frame. So Coke, utility is also looking very weak. I'm watching this 57.60 level breakdown, and there's little to no support here below this level. I think we can see a waterfall sell off in the Coke too. So definitely on high watch Coke. Mm. Guys, Etsy, Etsy is a, pretty weak name, almost at 52-week lows, and there's a massive sell-off of 150 level. And I'm also, looking to go short one more time on this name. If it breaks 63 level, 63 level breaks, 61 is my next target. So this is the level that bulls need to hold. Otherwise, it's gonna go back to the COVID lows. This is my long-term target on Etsy. So any single bounce on this one is gonna get sold, in my opinion, unless my target, getting hit, which is the COVID lows on this one. Costco's are holding up pretty well, but I see this triple top is forming. On this one is uptrend breakdown, looks like a, retest to and rejected. So price is consolidating sideways. I'm watching 554.37 level for it to break down, and then we'll enter a short position with a target of 545 is the next one, and then 540 is the next target. CCL, you know, massive range breakdown followed by followed by bearish engulfing, doji, and another bearish engulfing, and a volume gap below. Not volume gap, just a price gap on this one, but also have a small volume gap too. If we look further here to the left, so watching 1391 level on this one with easy gap fill play to 1308. If you have a small account, this is a name that you need to be trading every other day or so, because the cons are cheap and they are liquid, and it moves really nicely too. Cat. So as you guys, I showed you the Dow Jones chart. It looks pretty weak, and then Cat is the one is holding up pretty well compared to all its peers like HD, and there's another one, Lowe's here, right? It's holding up pretty well compared to that. So I do think it's a lagger in play. So if we start breaking this 271.50 level or even this prior lows, I think we can see a massive sell-off in Cat too. So definitely one of the top watches for me going into the next week. Guys, Apple, everyone's watching Apple. Prices just keep going down, but Apple's holding up really nicely, because if Apple starts to break down, that means the whole stock market is going to go down. The reason they are holding Apple well above is this prior week low is because the bulls are scared. They're trying to protect this level 172, which is a big level on the weekly time frame, because if you look at prices making this higher lows and higher highs all this time. So if price do break this prior lows, which means the weekly structure is going to change, the weekly bear is going to step in. That means every single pop is going to get sold if we break 172 level, and they are protecting this level. So I'm closely watching this 172 173 level. If we get a daily close below this level, I think price is going to go down a lot. And then it looks like it also formed a huge weekly massive supply too in here. So definitely things are now looking good for tech bulls and semi bulls, and on top the XLF. Double A, this is a name I do not play regularly, but I do think this one is due for another massive sell-off. This is what I'm watching. Huge, I think, distributions going on. Looking at this volume profile, I think once price breaks this low, we can see a massive waterfall sell-off. So that's what I'm waiting for on this one. I do not usually play this name, but the setup is there for a waterfall sell-off. So guys, these are some of the names I'm watching going into next week, and there is another three bonus names that I want to give you on top of these ones, which I'm looking to go short, which are also looking very bearish. Again, guys, I gave you almost 15 to 20 names, as a setup, going into next week or Monday or Tuesday, whatever, using those levels. But you don't have to use all those names and then go ahead and short every name out there. But you can pick and choose only 4 to 6 the best you like, and then use the same levels that I have, and then play those names. Meta is the one that is holding up pretty nicely. Looks like a same setup as Cat. It's lagging. Lagging the tech. Compared to look at Microsoft. It's break down a lot of this massive bear flag, and looking at Meta, it's still holding up this bear flag resistance here, but rejecting this daily supply. So also forming this bearish candle on Friday. So definitely watching the new lows here on Meta if we start breaking the Friday lows on this one. And then the second bonus one is the MU, also holding up pretty well compared to the other semis name out there like Nvidia, AMD, AMAT, all these names. So, but we finally got a breakdown on the daily chart on high volume. So, and sideways, a doji sideways price action on Friday. So if we break 67.77 level on this one, so definitely watching new lows on this. So the last one is UPS and weekly breakdown on this one. So massive room down on this one too if we start breaking lows. So guys, keep those names on watch. I think every single pop is gonna get sold. All these names. I hope this week's stock market analysis video help you in some way. So if you guys like this video, and then if you want me to continue making all these daily stock market updates, subscribe to my channel, and then turn on this notification. I'll be back with more and more educational content every single day. Have a good day, everyone. Enjoy your weekend.